In 2014, Andy Mineo dropped the album Neverland. Less than 7 years later, we get the sequel, Neverland 2. Did it live up to the expectations and hype around Neverland? Well, I'm about to see. First of all, let me just say that I think Neverland 2 is, to be blunt, a better album than Neverland. This is shocking mainly because Neverland is a short album, meaning that it has less room for mistakes than a longer album would. If you have an album of 14 songs, you have a greater chance of making, a bad song or a song someone wouldn't like on a 14-track album rather than a 7 or 8-track album. And Neverland 2 was 12, 13 tracks, while Neverland was 7, 8 tracks. Neverland 2 is exactly what a sequel should be. It does everything the original did, but better. It has, the hit song. Neverland has You Can't Stop Me, while Neverland 2 has Coming In Hot. It has diversity of genre, which Neverland does. It has, hip-hop, pop, a little bit of R&B in some of the tracks. And Neverland 2 has, same thing, except in an even larger variety. At some points, they go into dance and other genres also that were also explored in its predecessor. But what it does better than the original is telling a story. It tells the story of an idea that Andy Mineo is trying to keep and not forget. And it tells the story through the many songs that are on the album. And it even sprinkles this narrative idea through little sound bites of Andy as a child or Andy's mother. In the first track, I forgot whether it was Am I or Falling, Andy has a little voice at the end that says, "Don't forget me." So he's not forgetting his mom, essentially, and the idea she raised him up with, which is partially explored on Mama Taught Me. I think that in recent years, this is one of the best concept albums I have ever seen. Most albums try and fail to be concept albums. This is mainly because they never really tell a story, and usually, the most story-ish element is the fact that the title track has the same name as the album. It's normally stupid. And to give a good example of one, I hate to do this because he's my favorite, but Justin Bieber, for example. Justice this year, he should have just named the album Haley. Why would you name it Justice? It had, besides that Martin Luther King interlude and that little soundbite at the tiny beginning, there was nothing to do with that. So why in the world would you name the album Justice? Purpose was a better concept album than Justice. So I'm going on a tangent here, but yeah. So a concept album is one that tells a story. There are examples of great concept albums out there. A good one that I'm thinking of is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. It tells a very good narrative. Unfortunately, though, not a lot of hip-hop albums, pop albums, they struggle with being concept albums. I'm not saying that you have to tell a perfect story every time to be a great concept album. You don't. But at least try and give us one. And Neverland 2 gave us an amazing story throughout, and it was a great concept album. Honestly, some of the narrative elements of this album is what made the album great, and it actually improved some songs that I didn't like before. One of the pre-singles that was released, Nobody's Coming, I honestly was okay with. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. But the interlude, New Father, improved it for me. It improved it because of what I was talking about, the fact that it fits so well in the narrative, and 2, because it was gorgeous. It took a song that I didn't like or didn't love and transformed it. New Father isn't even a full song. It's just an interlude. And normally, if you've ever seen me, I'm pretty sure I've spoken on it on this channel. I hate interludes. I think they provide nothing at all to the album 90% of the time. They're useless. But this was the exception, and it was a good exception. I remember I was at work, and the interlude came on, and I was listening to, the mother talk, Fran. I was listening to Fran talk about how Andy's father wasn't coming, and that he just stopped and prayed to have a new father. And then the interlude concluded with Fran saying, after he prayed that, I looked up to God and I said, God, what are you going to do about Andy's prayer? And then Nobody's Coming came on, and at that moment, I knew exactly why that interlude was there. It made the impact of the song Nobody's Coming hit you like a freight train. And I remember at work, I almost wanted to start crying. It was so beautiful. Man, these Reach albums, they're making me almost break down at work. I almost did that with Holvay's When Washed in the Blood and Nothing But Jesus came on. I almost started crying. Same thing with New Father and Nobody's Coming. Those two tracks together, I cannot listen to them one without the other. It's impossible because it makes the other track what it is. After I heard it, I quickly paused it and I said to myself, I went, now I get it. Now I get why that track's there. I don't think Andy should have released it as a single because it didn't hit as hard as it should have. But I digress. I also loved how the album, it went into so many genres. You have this like pop with Remind Me, this R&B in Not Gon' Do, this EDM in Working on It, this hard hip-hop and obviously one of the best tracks, Been About It, this regular hip-hop and Falling. It's a great album, especially when all put together. I love the lyricism too in Trying. Now, I will say this, while it was an amazing album to me, there still was one, yes, I'm saying this, one problem, and I am going to address it. Working on It. Not a bad song by any means, but I am severely ticked at Andy Mineo. If you are going to have Chandler Moore and Taylor Hill on a track together, I better hear them. What the heck? This was the most wasteful opportunity of having an artist on a track. Like, if I'm seeing featuring Chandler Hill, this is the guy who's made music with Justin Bieber. This is the guy who literally has one of the biggest worship songs in the country in Gyra. Why in the world would you do it wasn't a vocoder on his vocals, but it was like his vocals were like distorted. Like, why? And I was like, oh. Then I looked at the Genius lyrics and it said that the chorus was actually Taylor Hill, and I was like, that's even worse. And then it said that Chandler Hill literally had a part where he just went, biggest waste. I'm super angry about that. Super. Like, I'm not kidding. Not joking at all. Really, really mad about that. Other than that, I think this was a pretty good album. And the tracks, there's no bad track on it. The drill has it's a reference and a callback to Magic and Bird, and it even teases the hint at a second collab album, which would be great because Magic and Bird was one of the greatest CHH albums, if not one of the greatest hip hop albums. I also love how it literally used the beat in the lyrics. The drill, and then it does drill in the background. If you don't know what drill is, visit geniuslyrics.com. I literally explain it there. I forgot the name. Cross My Heart with Ink. Ink's vocals are great. And to me, I think that this album has one of the best 3-track runs I've seen in a while, which is the intro track, Am I, track 2, Falling, which, the transitions. The transitions in this album are also amazing. But Am I Falling and Been About It, which the music video is amazing. I am happy to report that I don't even listen to a lot of the albums in the music video I didn't listen to, but I was able to identify, like, out of all the albums there, I just missed 3. There were 3 that I had no clue of. The rest of them I got. I was like, oh, that's Jay-Z the Black Album. Oh, that's Outkast. I didn't know the name of Outkast's album. I only know one song by Outkast. I was like, oh, that's the Eminem show. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's that. And I was amazed at myself. I was proud of myself at the end of the day. But Been About It is an amazing track. It's really making me want more Lecrae stuff. It's got me asking, when is that Lecrae and 1K Few collab album dropping? When is the Lecrae and Andy Mineo collab album dropping? Lecrae, where the heck are you? I need you right now. For real. All that being said, let me give my rating of this album. I know that some people are going to be going, he's been talking about this album so positively that he didn't talk this positively about Donda. Well, Donda, I know I have to bring it up in every video in 2021 because Donda is literally the biggest album in 2021. It has a bigger track list, though. It has more room to make mistakes, and it did. Unfortunately, for some people who want me to say that Neverland 2 was greater than Donda, I am going to have to disappoint you and say it wasn't. I like Donda better still. I will be bumping Donda till 20 years in the future, and maybe Been About It 20 years in the future, not the entire album. That's just how it is. With that said, I think Donda has better songs, but I think as a whole, Neverland 2 is better. I'm going to say that again. I think Donda has better songs, but I think that as a whole, Neverland 2 is better. With all I have said about Neverland 2, I'm going to have to give the album a 9 out of 10. And really, that 1 point from 10 that's missing is not because of a track that I don't like. I didn't really think there were bad tracks on this album. In fact, a good chunk of them come to my mind as being liked. Am I Falling? Been About It? Trying? Remind Me? Those are probably my favorite 4 tracks from the album. Or 5. But the only thing that I think would take away that point is the fact that the highs of this album are so high that when a track doesn't reach that level of greatness, you can feel it. So, for example, when Been About It plays and then the drill plays, it's like Been About It is such a good song that it kind of takes away from the drill. You're going, compared to that last song I heard, this is okay. And that's not how it should be. That's just how it is because Been About It played. Maybe if some of the tracks were switched around, maybe like if Trying came after Been About It, because Trying was a great track, but Trying was a lyrical track. So, you wouldn't have gone down. You would have stayed in a different level. Other than that, think the album was great. Tell me your thoughts on it. Tell me if you think it's album of the year, if you think Donda sucks compared to it. Remember to subscribe. Please like the video. And remember, there's only 2 things I know. I know that Jesus is king. And I know that JT Picks, moi, knows best. Okay, see you guys next video.